Guys, most people think that the crypto lending is died after collapse of Celsius. But what if I tell you there is one platform which grew its asset under management from 500 million to 4 billion in last 12 months? Let's break it down. The project I'm talking about is Maple Finance, one of the OG project. This project is, if I want to define it in one line, it's an private credit on-chain crypto lending platform. So if I wanted to try to explain it in a non-techie format, private credit means institution, on-chain means it's on blockchain, and crypto lending is basically it is collateralized by digital assets like, and again we're talking about blue chip collateralization, digital assets like BTC, ETH, Solana, this kind of a stuff. Okay, so you people who are there in the previous cycle must be remembering Celsius, and don't get scared with it. It is not Celsius, but it belongs to the same category. It's a lending platform mainly for the institution, which has its focusing more on the institution, de-risk certain things. It has its own advantages, which I will explain you later. But if I wanted to differentiate this from Celsius, is like, I think guys, the reason for the Celsius collapse was not because crypto lending was not a potential use case. It is because Celsius did not execute that properly. What they did is they were not very much vertical. They spread it horizontally too much. Means, in addition to being a lending platform, they started working as a hedge fund. They started using, they became big in a very short time, and I think they couldn't handle it. That's completely my personal view. What happened is that they started doing uncollateralized lending. They started chasing yield. They started doing DeFi farming, etc., etc. So rather than being a core lending platform, they spread it across, and then they just couldn't handle it because there was a lot of uncollateralized exposure, which is definitely not the case with Maple. I have heard a lot about the founder. Said he's a very smart guy, and then the kind of a business strategy approach that he has, I'm really impressed with that. So it looks to be a very legit project to me. I mean, you do your own research, but my job here is to explain you more details about this product. So as we discussed, it's an private credit on-chain asset management platform or a lending platform. So Maple provide over-collateralized loan to the institutions, and the way it does it is by offering two products. So let's go into the app. When we click into enter app, it should show us the key two products. Yeah, here we go. So one is syrupUSDC and USDT, right? So this is more for a regular retail or a DeFi users, where there is no minimum defined, how much you can deposit. But what happens is that once the user deposits USDC or USDT, it basically gets converted to syrupUSDC, USDT, and then the Maple has a partnership with the other projects like Aave, Camino, Pendle, etc., which basically are again being used to use this liquid yield generating dollars, syrupUSDC or USDT, and giving loans to the institutions. And of course, the collateralization ratio is going to be different for these two products. The other one that we are talking about is this Maple institutional lending, where KYC is required. There is a minimum loan is defined as 100K. And then again, we are talking about a bit more safer approach. A more sophisticated institutional users go for this product, where they want a bit more safety, meaning the BTC, ETH or top altcoins, I think they're using Hyperliquid also now. These are being placed into the safe custody location by Maple itself. So KYC is needed. There is a minimum requirement of 100K loan. and then it gives you, like, a few more additional features like customer service, etc., etc. So this is for sophisticated user, this is for main normal retail and DeFi users. Now coming back to my point, why they're trying to focus more on retail, and why there is, when we're talking about defining a minimum 100k requirement, it helps to de-risk the default of a customer in a certain way. So just to give an example, the October crash, we all still unfortunately remember that, but there were around 9 margin calls for Maple, and Maple was successfully able to deal with it, because the institutions are much better ready in compared to retail to deal with these kind of unforeseen circumstances, these kind of a crash. They have the amount, or they have the cash ready to deal with these kind of a margin calls, right? And second, which is a very fantastic thing, Maple doesn't liquidate fully, so it's this kind of a soft liquidation. So Maple basically try to maintain the LTV, so it only liquidates the required amount, so that LTV ratio will be maintained accordingly. It's not like there will be a fully liquidation, and then again there will be a notice of a 12 hour or for 24 hours whenever the marginal call happens. So these are two fantastic products. Let's have a very quick look on the how AUM is increasing with time. Just look at the phenomenal growth in the AUM in last 12 months. Just look at that. Like, a start of 2025, it was 506 million, and now it's 4.5 billion by end of 2025. Right now, because the market is more in a bear mode, so I think it's under 4 billion. But just look at the phenomenal 8x growth in the asset under management. The annual recurring revenue was 15 million by mid of 2025. End of 2025 is for 30 million, but I think the aim to achieve is 100 million by end of 2026. There were 60 unique borrowers during 2025 for it, which is great, and the yield that was paid was 65 million. So we can clearly see that it's more in the growth phase right now. So I mean, any crypto project first start with the experimental mode, where we say that it looks to be an interesting project. But I think Maple has crossed that phase, and it's more kind of in a scale phase where things are growing, your AUM is growing, their business is expanding, and they're doing really very interesting thing to expand the business. Now, why Maple matters? Some key features of Maple Finance. I think first one, I'm gonna go with the stablecoin as rails. So stablecoin and cross-border payments are a part of long-term adoption thesis, because we are using USDC, etc. There is no geographic location bar as such in expanding the business for Maple Finance, and again it also brings up an added advantage of cost benefit of any kind of a mediator. For example, some institution in Japan is looking for a loan. Maple Finance doesn't need to contact anybody as a mediator to work between the potential Japanese borrower and Maple. It's all on chain, it's smart contract driven, so everything is available on chain, clear transparency, etc. And what Maple Finance also does is whatever cost saving comes, it actually is able to pass it to the customers. So it's kind of a win-win situation, because stable coin has been used as a rail. The other thing is institution gap. So now, I mean, with the growing and more friendly regulatory environment in many countries, UAE, probably UK where I'm residing right now, US, we all know, I think institutionals are becoming more and more interested in this new asset class, new crypto asset class. So institution capital is reshaping DeFi. They are participating more and more in DeFi, and Maple wants to be a bridge between them. So again, what we effectively is talking about is that using digital assets which are more liquid, which is less volatile, like BTC, Solana, etc., using them as a collateral, institution loans can be provided. That's what it means. Now let's talk about the current market cap, what the price is and what the potential is. So we're talking about 0.22 USD as the current price for this token. The current market cap is around 250 million. Now see, of course, subject to few things. Say we will have a good a positive regulatory environment, for example Clarity Act being approved, which is more in favor of stablecoin usage, institution level wide adoption of this product. If these things happens, I can very well see market cap going from 250 million to easily 2 to 5 billion. So it's a potential 10 to 20x opportunity in my view. So in summary, the current price is 0.22. As we discussed, the 10x valuation will put the FDV to 2.5 billion, which is very much achievable, of course subject to mass adoption and regulatory support. And 20x price will make it again 5 billion. So it's a clear 10x to 20x opportunity. We have to keep in mind there are risks involved, as we have for other crypto projects as well. It's not a startup. It's in a growth phase, but again, it's not a 10 or 20 billion dollar company so far, right? So it's going in the right direction. So that's one thing. Regulatory clarity has been passed, but it's still waiting for the approval from Senate, etc. So we have Clarity Act approval is quite linked with the project like this. So it's a promising project, and even if the Clarity Act is not passed, it probably more of a matter of when rather than if, in terms of getting this process succeeded, in my personal view. So it might take few months more to achieve the success rate that Maple could have achieved with the approval of Clarity Act. But again, there is a dependency on it. One other thing worth mentioning is that you can't stake, let's say the syrup is the token for Maple Finance. It's a governance token. And again, it is linked with the growth of the project. The way it happens is that Maple is committed to use 20 to 25% of their revenue in buying back syrup token, right? So there is a SSF fund. So this is basically, that's how it is linked with the Maple growth. And institutional adoption is continuing through syrup products, secure lending and wide distribution. And crypto gets a more regulatory friendly backdrop, such as Clarity Act style US market security clarity. So yeah, so that's we have already covered. So promising and a very strong project. I would say that if you guys even decide to buy, I think it makes sense to buy the first part only, because macro fundamental are still macro situation is still not very stable. We probably will be having the final flush in the market, but at the same time, if you like the project and if you decide to invest, there is no point in sitting idle. DCA is the best strategy, dollar cost averaging. If you like this project, I would say buy the first part and wait. And if we get it into the range of if we get a significant correction, you can plan to buy with the remaining fund that you plan to invest in this project. Where to buy syrup token? Pretty easy. It's listed on majority of the centralized exchange and decentralized exchanges. So it's there on Coinbase, Binance, MEXC, Kraken, Bitgate. So go there and buy it, or Uniswap, as we know, is the primary decentralized exchange. You can go there and buy it from there. Last but not least, guys, if you found value in deep dive on Maple Finance, please subscribe this channel. It will help the channel to grow. Please share with your friends, provide comments, like the video. This is the channel where it's a no-shill channel. You will find fundamental values, you will find good education, so that we as a community can learn and grow and invest sensibly. Thank you very much. Till next video.